Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, Kyrie Irving, Dame Lillard is a topic of discussion. I was going through the internet. I stumbled across a podcast. It is what it is. It's the name of the podcast. It's hosted by Cameron, the rapper, Mace, the rapper, and it's a real good podcast. I think it's been out less than a year, man. It's already doing big numbers. If you haven't already caught up with them, man, you need to go subscribe to them. It is what it is. Subscribe to them on YouTube, man, and give them a listen, man. They doing some good stuff. They already got a $30 million deal with I don't think it's fantasy, but I double checked and see who they got their deal with, but they inked the $30 million deal. So they doing good over there, man. Funny show, good show. It's legit, all that good stuff. But anyway, they had Dame Lillard over there for an interview, and that interview was really good. He talked about the rap, the battle, the beef he had with Shaquille O'Neal. He talked about some Golden State Warrior stuff, the trade stuff with Portland, and of course the topic what we're talking about today. His top 5 point guards is in the league right now, and I thought it was interesting how he kind of described it. And I'll play for you what he said, and then we'll talk about it. Before we get started, though, if you're not subscribed, because 60 to 65% of y'all that are watching the video are not subscribed. So people are seeing the video. You obviously like something about the video to click on it, and you're watching it, but you're not subbing. So go ahead and make it official. Hit that subscription button, and definitely hit that thumbs up button, man. Some of these videos are getting thousands of views, but only like 50, 60 likes. If it's getting 1,000 views, I'd like to at least see 250 likes. So make sure you hit that like button. That's a favor to the channel. That's the least you can do. And then, if you really want to do the ultimate favor and subscribe, that'd be dope. Yeah, that's all I had to say to get all that out of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and play for you what Dame Lillard said, and I'm going to come back with my commentary.
You think Steph is better than you?
I don't think nobody is better than me. I don't think nobody's better than me when I get on the court. That's probably my greatest strength is I believe what I believe, and that's what it is.
You think you're the best point guard in the NBA right now?
Yeah.
Who's second, third, fourth, and fifth?
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
There's only 2 other ones.
Mace is 20, 30. Yo, Mace, leave me alone with my questions, man. It's the 30-point starting point guard.
He knows what I'm talking about. He understands.
If I wanted to ask you a question, I would ask you a question. I speak to you every day. I'm asking him his picks.
Okay. Let him go.
He has to play against these people, so I want to know exactly who he's picking. You're not playing. You're also a high school basketball player like me. We didn't make
I'm an
it past
expert analyst.
You have not made it past the high school basketball level. Thank you.
Steph. Trying to think all the teams. Ja Morant. I put Ja Morant up.
Let's do this instead of now. Who's the best? Name 3 other point guards that you played against that you think are just as good as Steph.
I don't think nobody's.
Well, that's the wrong way to put it. What's the best 3 point guards you played against?
The only point guard in the league that I would say was better than me is Steph Curry. But
I asked the question wrong. What's the best 3 you played against?
Steph, Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook.
Kyrie, nigga.
Those are 2 I was talking about.
Of course you was. Of course. This nigga right here.
Kyrie really different.
I think Kyrie, he's
the most skilled. His game is he got the most beautiful game in NBA history.
What I say is this. I say this all the time. I say I don't think that there's anybody that puts on more of a show than Kyrie, whether it's entertainment-wise, not necessarily saying the best of point guard or whatever, but I believe he's definitely top 5. But somebody I would go pay my money to go see is Kyrie Irving, because he puts on a show every time he gets on the court. It's almost Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, this shit crazy. Like you can't work on the shit that he be doing.
Right.
That's a gift.
Yeah, like I've never, like I said, we was having a little argument we was filming earlier about a level of basketball we went to, but you know, to me, and I could be wrong, it's something that you may be answering. I've never practiced, even when I used to play basketball, shooting off the wrong foot with the wrong hand. Like jumping off your left foot and shooting with your left hand. Is that something you practice?
I didn't start working on that until the last 2 years. Cause
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
that's, at first it came off like, oh, this is just some cute shit that people doing. Now it's literally harder for bigs to time that layup.
Right.
You go right, left, like
know
this,
what's
they
coming
can
on.
time that. But when it's just like you in stride and you just, like, that's how you score and not get your shit pinned on the glass. So it's actually something that everybody's doing now. Same leg, same hand.
That's interesting for him to say all of that. Very high praise from one of the best basketball players in the league. A couple of things I want to point out, though. First and foremost, when they first asked him that, you could tell he was trying to think of all the teams and all the point guards, right? So he's trying to go through his memory and remember that. And it's very easy to remember Steph because Steph has been obviously tearing the league up for the last 7-8 years, breaking records, doing some phenomenal things, winning championships. So that's fresh on your mind because no one's going to let you forget what Steph is doing. And when he first said Steph and he was thinking of another guy, he couldn't really get the names in his head. And the first name he said was Ja Morant. Kind of said it reluctantly, right? And Mace was trying to give him a hint because he said, man, there's only two other guys other than Dame, because the question was, other than you, Dame, if you're number one, who's 2, 3, 4, and 5? And Mace said, it's not no 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's only two more, which sounds like Mace been listening to the Man Down podcast, because I've several times talked about when it comes to the point guard position currently right now, there's three guys that's separated themselves, and then there's everyone else. And the three guys that have separated themselves is Kyrie Irving, Dame Lillard, and Steph Curry, right? And I explained why Luka's not on there in a second, right? So those three guys separate themselves, and that's what Mace was alluding to. But Dame couldn't get Kyrie in his mind because when you start thinking, you're thinking about what you're hearing around the media. You're thinking about what's been current, what's been trending lately. And Kyrie has been trending in all the wrong ways for the last 3 or 4 years. So it's easy to kind of overlook, and kind of forget how good this guy is, right? So he's trying to think, and then they ask, okay, let me rephrase the question. Who else is as good as Steph? And he said, no, I don't think nobody's as good as Steph. He still can't think of a name. I don't think nobody's as good as Steph. And then when his mind, finally, jogged his memory good, and he was like, shoot, Kyrie Irving. He was like, man, Kyrie. He was like, man, me, Steph, and Kyrie, and Russ, as far as the guys I played against, Kyrie, Steph, and Russ are the best. And then he started going in and describing Kyrie. He didn't describe Westbrook. He described Kyrie and said the most beautiful things about him. He said he has the best and most beautiful game I've ever seen in NBA history. So you can't have that type of high praise for a guy and not regard him in the same breath as yourself and Steph. So I just wanted to clear that up. I think he forgot about Kyrie in that moment, but then when his memory jogged and his memory bank, and he remembered, oh man, Kyrie. Oh yeah, Kyrie is up there, right? So Dame Lillard got the same thought process I have, as far as him, Steph, and Kyrie being the top cream of the crop, and nobody else is even close. But the honorable mentions after those three would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Ja Morant, Jamal Murray. I mean, I can try to think of some. De'Aaron Fox, those guys, right? Those would be the next four, and then after them, then you probably get to another echelon or another tier where you have like maybe LaMelo Ball, and guys of that nature, right? So it's levels, right? LaMelo Ball, maybe even Harden at this point, maybe even Van Vliet, maybe. Yeah, it's levels to it, but Kyrie is definitely on the top. And the reason why I even do a video like this and point out what someone's saying about Kyrie is that all the players, Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, it don't matter who you talk to, all the players will tell you Kyrie is that good. The only people who act like Kyrie is not that good is the media. And I don't know how many top 100, top 50, or top 25 lists I've seen where they just totally disrespected Kyrie. I did a video, and I'll put the link in the description, before the season started, when The Ringer did their top 100 players in the NBA list before the season started. And I lie to you not, Kyrie Irving was number 75. And I did a video. It might have not been 75. It might have been 60. It was low, right? And I did a video and was like, this is ridiculous. And I counted how many point guards, just the people at his position, was ahead of him. And they had pretty much every point guard that was a starter. Probably half of them, half the starters was ahead of Kyrie Irving. So he was middle of the pack. They had Drew Holiday ahead of him. They had Tyrese Halliburton ahead of him. Jamal Murray ahead of him. De'Aaron Fox ahead of him. They had everybody ahead of him at his position. I think he was like number 13 at his position. And then the funny thing about this is he comes out and averages almost 35 and 5 at Brooklyn, and then go to Dallas and average about the same and make All-Star, right? And I'm like, man, how is it that this guy is on The Ringer and on ESPN and several other platforms that do lists, and they have him very low? How can that be the collective thought process amongst media if it's not something that I'm not gonna say collusion, but when they talk amongst each other, these are the common thought processes of the media when it comes to Kyrie Irving. Like, we're gonna slight him. If it was up to the media, he wouldn't even make All-Star last year. They wouldn't have voted him in. The only reason why he made All-Star because he got voted in as a starter by the fans. The media kept him off the top 75 list last year, and all the lists that have ranked players in the NBA, he's been ranked as low as they can possibly rank him. So it's real good when I hear the NBA players actually speak and explain to you and make the media look so dumb when they themselves tell you that Kyrie is amongst the best in the league, period, not just at his position, but amongst the best, period, right? So those three point guards to me are top three. Now, getting to the Luka thing, and there's another thing that Dame probably think the way I think. I don't think he looks at Luka as a point guard. Does he play point guard? Yes. Same way James Harden play point guard. It's not a point guard. Same way Draymond and LeBron kind of plays point guard. They're not the point guard, right? So not a lot of people look at Luka as a point guard. If you look at his body type, 6'8", around 260. He's got more of a body type like Paul Pierce more than he has of any point guard that you've seen, right? He's a scorer. He's a phenomenal player, but he's also a really good passer, right? So it's kind of hard not to want to give him the ball and let him make plays. But the thing about having your primary scorer also be the guy that you run your offense through to make all your plays for everyone else is now you giving all the important jobs on offense to one guy. And by default, when you do that, you turn everyone else around him into statues watching him do everything. And the only thing they're there for is to either set screens for him or space the floor for him and be ready to catch and shoot when he gets in trouble. So you just there to really bail him out. And then if he ain't got it that night or that quarter, you have to be so good as a scorer that you can be Johnny on the spot and then start putting points in, or y'all gonna be in trouble. Like when you have a scorer that's your single point of failure and his job is to get everybody else their points as well, And if he don't have it that night, or if he get in foul trouble and have to sit down early in the first quarter, or if he miss a game, your number 2 co-star has to be so good that at the just Johnny on the spot, I can go ahead and give you 20, 30 or whatever. I can carry the scoring load for this quarter or whatever the case may be. That's the issue with their play style, and that's why LeBron James could have a really good team playing like that. I'm the number 1 scorer for the team, but I'm also the primary distributor for the team. You could do that, and you can have the best record in the league, and you can win MVP, and you can have crazy stats. But at some point in the playoffs, you're not going to have it, and it's gonna come back to bite you like it did when LeBron was in Cleveland and he kept losing, went to the finals, got swept by San Antonio, had the best record the next season, won MVP, got put out by Orlando and Dwight Howard, and came back the next season and had the same best record in the league, and then got put out by Boston. And then the way he wanted to play basketball would not work until he went to Miami and formed a super team, which gives you the formula that I described. Your number 2 in that case was Dwayne Wade, was so good on offense that I could play Brown ball, and then whenever I just threw the ball to D Wade, he can just go get a bucket 9 times out of 10. And the reason why that's crazy important is because you have to kind of overcompensate for the bad offense you're playing by having a plethora of unstoppable scorers. And he not only had that in his number 2, but his number 3 was also Chris Bosh, who was someone who was dependent on for scoring when he was with Toronto. So it's really important when you look at these super teams, you look at guys, are they capable of being number 1s? Are they superstars, right? Chris Bosh proved that he was a number 1 and can carry a team. So did Wade, so did LeBron. All 3 of them was on the same team in their prime. That was a super team, and that's how you overcome the bad offense of letting your primary scorer be your primary facilitator. But I say all that to say this: Dame Lillard is not looking at Luka as a point guard, and I don't either. You know, his natural position is a small forward, and he will be more successful. He probably won't have the most stats that he can get, but he'll be more successful as a player if he comes off the ball and let a real point guard handle that distribution for his team, right? So Luka's not a point guard to me, but if I was forced to add him as a point guard and I was making the top 5 list, he's definitely in the top 5, but he still would be behind Steph, Dame, and Kyrie. He would be number 4 for me, right? And number 5 for me probably would be De'Aaron Fox. I mean, I like what De'Aaron Fox do. A lot of other people will probably have Jamal Murray there, but for me, it'd be De'Aaron Fox. So that's my thoughts on that, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Do you think Dame Lillard is right in naming Kyrie Irving and giving him such high praise and holding him in high regards, or do you prescribe to what the media is saying and thinking that Kyrie Irving is probably outside of the top 10 at his own position in the NBA? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode.